must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and NASA, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo, today as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center in London. And in Nairobi, we have Miriam in the General Headquarters. Good afternoon, Miriam.
A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, and good morning. I know where you are.
It is good morning wherever I am, and it is afternoon down in Nairobi. And with us this morning, we have a panel of able ladies and gentlemen who will be discussing African integration. On the line, we have a new correspondent from one of the counties in Nairobi, Kiambu, Malini. Good afternoon. Unmute.
Morning, Doctor. It's afternoon here, but it's morning on your side. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. We have Douglas Kirimi, our correspondent from Meru. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. David Matsanga, to all our other panelists, and also to Miriam Ogutu and the crew back at our headquarters, and also to our friends across the world. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Javani Karanja. Only just say good afternoon and leave me to introduce the other gentlemen, because then I'll have no work. Don't introduce. Good afternoon, Japan Karanja.
Good afternoon to you, Dr. David Masanga, and good afternoon to our viewers wherever they're watching us from, and a good afternoon to all our able co-panelists that we are with on the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Kidi Mwaga, advocate of the High Court. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon on this show, Diplomatic Leaks.
Good afternoon, Dr. Good afternoon, everyone watching us around the world, in East Africa, in Kenya. It is always a wonderful feeling showing up on Punchline.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, is not the first man, the last man to reach the kingdom of God or his cause is none other than Professor Gerard Onyari from the CBD of Nairobi. Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon, Dr. Masanga, my fellow panelists, and our viewers from wherever they are.
Thank you very much. And then, good afternoon, Miriam Ogutu. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Doctor. Very good afternoon to you. Good morning, good evening to the viewers, wherever they're watching us from across the globe, because we have to appreciate that we're watched all over the world.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic today is very simple, and we want to knock points and be truthful to each other. Don't make long speeches, just knock your point one. In fact, I would advise people to say point number one, point number two, and make only three, then leave for others to hammer the time, because we are now trying to modernize. This is February, the month of love. So we take it as a lovely month. Those who celebrate, what is it called? What is that thing where people wear red? What is it called? A business consultant like Malin should be able to tell us what is it called. What is that thing called on 14th?
There's a difference between a lovely month and the love of month.
Called what?
Valentine's.
It is called.
It's called Valentine's Day.
But what is it? Does an African understand Valentine's? What is a Valentine?
Doctor, there's a difference between a lovely man
Anyway,
and the love of
different
man.
subject.
Yes.
We shall come back to it, but it's a very juicy and dicey. When it comes to that this month, we shall battle it down. Wallahi ya Mungu, if you expect me to buy any flowers, wallahi, don't bring it near me. So thank you very much, viewers, whatever you are. How do you buy flowers for a killer? This man Valentine was a killer. How do you buy flower one? No! Please, let's, Professor, thank you very much. Let's move on with the subject, because if you start here, you might finish the whole hour having a showdown. It is only people who don't know who Valentine was who buy flowers, but not me. David Matsanga, I swear no. Welcome on Angojia flowers zangu, utangojea paka Mungu anilete tena. Hakuna. Thank you very much, viewers. This show is Africa. This is diplomatic leaks. We go behind diplomacy. African Union is holding, starting from today, they will be in Addis Ababa, holding a summit of foreign ministers and officials. Because on 14th or about 10th, 12th, we shall have, next week, we shall have heads of state summit in Addis Ababa. But the question that keeps on lingering to every mind of an African, will the African Union ever integrate? What are the chances of their integration? Are we near yet too far? Are we far and far away from the main notion, the main objective of why AU and OU, Organization of African Unity, then later on became Organization of African Union? Are we very far? Have we lost the meaning? Are we able to contribute? Are we able to integrate? If we can harass a Ugandan, a Tanzania harassing a Kenyan, that go back to your country, go to this, can we integrate it surely? If South Africans can ban people alive because they have just come to work hard in their country, can Africa integrate? Are there chances? Which leader will take a stab on the African integration? I think the panel will consider Africa integrate. Are there chances? Openly. Speak openly. Discuss openly. You do business. In the business, Marine, you are a business lady. You do businesses. You do public relations. You meet quite a number of people in different capacities. Have you ever seen things which can lead us to integration? Are we really integrated? Can we speak? When you look at an African from Egypt, you think he's an African or Egyptian or an Arab. When you look at a Somali, you think the Somali is African or is not an African. These are the questions. Have we gone too far from the center of African integration? Let's discuss. I hand over the baton to Miriam, coordinate and ask the questions. I will come in later to summarize. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that introduction. And it's interesting that you've mentioned the African Union. Now, of course, we know that it started as the Organization of African Unity, and that was one of the first Pan-African initiatives for African integration. Indeed, the OAU was born out of the will of 32 heads of state and government with the signing of the OAU charter by 30 member states in May 1963. Though divided over issues such as federalism and the African states, they opted for an organization that would consolidate the foundation of real unity on the continent and establish itself as a cooperation institution, which would gradually evolve into a dynamic force for integration. So these are just some of the objectives that were laid out by OAU when they were starting. And the first was to promote unity and solidarity of African states, and the other one was to coordinate and intensify their cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the people of Africa, defend their sovereignty, territorial integrity and independence, and the other one was to eradicate all forms of colonialism from Africa, and the other one was to promote international cooperation with due regard to the Charter of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we know that OAU in 2002 was replaced by the African Union. This is because the OAU had to reconcile with the new realities of the new millennium by endowing itself with a more efficient organizational structure. So we've heard all those things that were laid down by mostly our founding fathers. We'll just start from the basics. Are we living the dreams of our founding fathers? And one of them was to have a united Africa. I'll start with you. I will start with our guest, Marlene.
Thank you, Miriam. On terms of the African, as Daktari had asked, let me start with a point. Do you see, when you look at other Africans, do you look at them from the countries they're from, or do you see them as an African? Fortunately for me, I don't see any difference at all. And as I keep on telling, everywhere I go, I try and make people, Africans especially, to see other Africans as useful as they are. Me as a business person, I really encourage other business people to not really dwell on, especially now that Chinese has come into the country, most of the business people want to do construction with the Chinese and all that. And there are so many engineering companies in Kenya and construction companies. I really try and encourage them to, because we also have very, very smart Africans, engineers, doctors and all that. The mentality of, as you said, it's called colonialism. Are we able to bring that out of the picture in Africa, which is in the mental state of Africans? They're no longer here. The colonial era has gone, but it's still stuck in our minds. We still have that thing in our minds to the point where if someone comes to do business with you, you don't want to do with them just because of them being Africans. You get? And if a white person comes to you, you will gladly do it. And that's what I keep telling people, to stop that mentality. It's actually in a mental state. All right. So yes, I'm very, very hopeful. We are gonna unite one day. Very soon. I think we're very near. It's all in the mental state.
All right. Thank you so much. So what Marlene is saying there, that sometimes we are racist against ourselves. It's easier for us to trust another skin color than we do our own people here. Kitty, are some of the things, objectives that our founding fathers had when they sat together and decided to form the first Pan-African initiative under the Organization of African Unity, and one of them was to have unity and promote unity and solidarity among the African states. Have we been able to live up to that dream by our founding fathers so far?
Well, Miriam, the AU, the Organization of African Unity, started off to a false start. The false start, in part, because you realize that there was the attempt to have the Organization of African Unity then, the United States of Africa, then as it was championed by Kwame Nkrumah. But then selfish political interest took center stage, because we remember Dr. Masanga's boss then, President Obote, was one of the African heads of state who were willing to surrender their seat so that Africa could set up a United States of Africa. But then there were countries and the heads of states then who were feeling that since they had tested power, they were not willing to let that power, slip through their hands, going back into the hands of Nkrumah. And in part, they were arguing that Nkrumah was going to be president for life. We saw that subsequently there was also the interference by the foreign powers, France, United States, and UK, that were keen to extract raw materials from Africa. They ensured that they sponsored coups and counter-coups that effectively ended up destabilizing Africa extensively. Today, having started off on a false start, the question is, can we reintegrate Africa? The answer, I am an optimist. So that answer I would say is yes. But then I will add a rider that there shall be difficult choices to be made. Progress can sometimes be difficult. So, but then there are moments when change will take place, decades will happen in weeks. But yes, it is a venture that we, the young people of Africa, must grapple with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The young people of Africa, one of them being Javen Karanja. Kidi there has said, giving the background of the information that he just gave, that the unity of Africa started already on a very faulty ground there, and so far we saw the lay down our objectives from our founding fathers there. I don't know, how do you think we're doing in terms of having a united Africa so far? Javen.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. And I agree with Kidi. Kwame Nkrumah had a very brilliant idea of having one Africa that is under one leadership, and these other will be states that maybe will be governed by governors or maybe senators, maybe from the structure that they had. But due to the personal interest and the interference from our colonizers and the mental settings that Africans were in at that moment, they could not have figured out a unity of all the African countries. And that is still the thing that is affecting us today. We still are having a problem with our mental settings. And these settings, unless we do it and we set it to the factory setting and we come out fresh and new, then something will not go well when it comes to matter integration. How will we integrate as African countries when the Arabs, the Tunisians, the Egypt countries, those in the northern Africa, see them as Arabs but not Africans? How will we unite when you go to South Africa? There's xenophobic killings because they're killing Africans who are going there to work. How will we unite when a Kenyan goes to Tanzania and they are termed as corrupt and as people who come there to engage in corruption and other works? Unless we change and all Africans have a unity, I'm not seeing as Africans uniting. How can we unite when we don't have a free movement of the people across Africa? When we have all these imaginary boundaries that were put by the colonizers? Unless we work on these boundaries and Africans start feeling that they are not Nigerians but they're Africans, we are not Kenyans but we are more of Africans, then that is the only way we'll have an integration. Then we need also to work on infrastructural integration, economic perspectives. We cannot just call an integration without working on the hardware that will ensure that we have good roads, railway, airport, so that if you want to go to any part of this Africa, you can have access, so that we open up some remote African countries and we bring them to the limelight, so that everybody will be proud to be every corner of this of African continent. We know even in terms of development, we are in different stages. We need to be at par so that we can integrate. We cannot integrate when other countries are starving, when other countries they don't know even how to carry out an election. How will we have an integration when we have not achieved an integration within our countries, when we have not achieved integration in matters of tribalism, nepotism that is still affecting our small units? Unless we deal with our small units and we make them perfect, that is the only way we will talk of Africa integration. Unless Kenya work on the issue of tribalism and we integrate all the communities here, how will we integrate with the Fulani and the Igbos in Nigeria if we cannot unite within Kikuyus and Luos, within Kalenjins and Kambas? Unless unite us in this, from the small units, from the family to the countries, then we talk of unity. That of Africa, that is the only day I'll be optimistic like Kidi and Marine and say that is possible. For now, is a no. I'm not seeing us heading that direction because of the poor leadership and the poor mentality of Africans. We are still far away from that. Thank you.
Fulanis and Igbos, they have their own problems over there. They don't get along very well there, so they need to sort their problems and then sort ours, and maybe we can merge together and become one wonderful family in Africa. Now, one of the key things that was set out by the founding fathers there, Douglas, was to coordinate and intensify the cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the people of Africa, defend their sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence. Now, the last three, they seem to be doing that very well, our leadership in this continent. continent, but a better life for the people of this continent that was seen as a major factor that will bring, will have a prosperous people in this continent and will be one of the key drivers to a united Africa. That seems to have just fallen off the wagon there. I don't know, how are we living this dream from our founding fathers?
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you for that profound question. And I want to join Jevan's school of thought. I'm not optimistic about this thing because at the end of the day, what we are experiencing today is that in Africa, we are not protecting the sovereignty of other countries. And when the sovereignty of those countries are threatened, we keep quiet as Africans. Our leaders keep quiet. When the people of Zimbabwe are discriminated by Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa, the people of Zimbabwe deserve the right to go and work in South Africa, and also people of South Africa deserve the right to cross over and also work in Zimbabwe. Another thing is that when Zimbabweans are being discriminated by Americans, the people of Africa, because they also have their own vested interest with the Americans, don't want to speak for the people of Zimbabwe. When the people of Somalia are being killed by the Al-Shabaab, the greatest insurgency of all time in Somalia, Mogadishu, when the Republic of Kenya sacrifices everything and goes there, people go there and also protect their own interest and protect the bad leaders in power so that they can continue defranchising the people of Somalia and also threatening their sovereignty as a people. Miriam, when in Ethiopia, when the people of Tigray are being killed by their own government, when they are being killed by the federal government of Ethiopia, people in the world cannot speak. People in Africa, people of goodwill cannot speak. Our leaders cannot continue speaking. When Museveni is stealing elections in Uganda, stifling opposition, African Union is sleeping. We, the people of Kenya, have not spoken, have not given a statement concerning that issue. When the people of Cameroon are being murdered by Paul Biya in Amazonia, we are not speaking as the people of Africa. Our sovereignty as a people, as the people of Amazonia, we don't stand with the people of Amazonia. When Denis Nguesso Sassou in Congo Republic is killing his people and also overstaying in power, we don't speak for those poor people, Miriam. When people in Nigeria are having problems with their government, we don't speak. Very few people speak for our Pan-African brothers, Miriam. When we are having issues with Tanzania, Tanzania is banning our chicks and also selling our cattle. We are not being integrated as a people between Kenya and Tanzania. Why? Magufuli is banning our chicken, whereas they want Tanzanians to come to Kenya and get jobs, Miriam. That is not what is supposed to happen. Today, we have a people across Africa, spread across Africa, who don't want any good for any country. When the people of Central African Republic cannot even vote for and protect their sovereign rights to elect their own leaders, our own African leaders are sending troops in Central Africa to steal diamonds and also to continue stifling democracy in that country and causing mayhem and insecurity. When we should be coming together and standing together as brothers and sisters, we cannot be able to unite, Miriam, and also come together if we cannot protect the sovereignty of our people. Miriam, when Western Sahara today is fighting for recognition from Morocco, we cannot stand up to the king of Morocco and tell them that the time has come for you today to grant the people of Western Sahara their sovereignty as a people. These people want to secede, Miriam. And at the end of the day, as a people, as Africans, we are failing in our Pan-Africanism agenda and law when we cannot be able to speak for our people, Miriam. Miriam, today, we are having problems across Africa. When President Kenyatta is bringing peace in Southern Sudan, some other elements are sending their armies and also so that they can continue disintegrating and destroying Southern Sudan. When President Uhuru Kenyatta is trying to speak to different parts of Africa so that they can bring peace in those nations, other leaders are sending troops there, sending military leaders to go and continue protecting demagogues in power, to continue protecting people who are in power, to continue stifling the voices of democracy, voices of progress, and going forward, Miriam. I submit.
You have laid down a very powerful, case there. Thank you so much, Douglas. Now, although the OAU's actions on issues, decolonization and the struggle against the apartheid were remarkable, the organization was for many years subject to much criticism for its inefficiency with regard to issues of decolonization and conflict management. Nearly 40 years after its creation, aggression, the recurring criticism led the heads of state and government to transform the OAU into a new organization capable of reconciling the realities of the new millennium by endowing itself with a more efficient organizational structures. And thus, OAU was dissolved in 2002 and replaced by the African Union. So now we have this elephant in the room called African Union, and they stopped criticizing OAU. They put it in a new outfit, but still, we criticize it here today because we feel as Africans, OAU is not really doing its mandate. Professor, I don't know, from what the objectives are for our founding fathers laid down for this continent, and many years later, over 60 years after the first African country got its independence, how are we doing so far?
Miriam, thank you for that good question. A good topic. You are asking me how we're doing. We are doing pretty good. Why am I saying so? Miriam, I channel towards integration and I channel towards unity. And unification of Africa is a process. It is not a one-day event, Miriam. And I want to assist my students here, my young brother, my children here, Kidi and Javan. But I was persuaded by Marine arguments he gave in. Yeah, I was persuaded, Miriam. I come from a community, Miriam, whereby if women comes out and screams, ooh-wee, are there men here? Are there young people here? Miriam, that is enough for war. Enough for war. If they say they make that kind of scream, they wait just like that, it's enough for war, Miriam, and I don't know who will come to stop that war. Javan and Douglas, Africa is screaming. And there's nothing which we are proud of as African because of the young people we have. Africa is the only continent with a youthful population, Miriam. Africa is a continent with intact resources, Miriam. There's new scramble for Africa. Everybody wants to get a stake in Africa. And our young people are giving up. Chairman is telling me it cannot be done. Dr. Masanga, one day will give you a privilege to go to Brussels and see the process of the European Union, the European unification, how it came. The people of Europe, the Europeans, fought with everybody. They killed everybody. Africa, we have not even done half of that. But eventually, what we have, they have what European Union, Miriam. Miriam, what I'm trying to say, these things are doable. These things are achievable. Miriam, time of us lamenting is all gone. Let us stop organizing. It is the time for African people to organize. Kwame Nkrumah, Milton Obote, Eri Sirasi, Jomo Kenyatta, Kennedy Kaunda, Mwalimu Nyerere, Namdi Azikiwe, Ben Bella, and many more, they did their part. One of the things, Miriam, you have never known, I assist people to write their legacies. Your legacies, you write your legacy when you are still alive. The only thing you need people to do for you is to write the day you are going to die because you don't know. That's when they will say, this is your sunset. But the rest of the things, you can write your history. Why am I making this one, Miriam? Africa will only go forward if we have progressive leaders, progressive young people to protect the continent. The Pan-African leaders have said they did their part. What have we done, Miriam? What have we done? We can be able to dismantle this. Young people, they are living in a generation of social media, Miriam. They generate something here to recirculate the entire continent of Africa. Miriam, Africa will move forward if we only start thinking on how to decolonize our mind. Our young people are thinking, Miriam, do you know what? Do you know people with PhD and professors go to Europe and America to be shoe shiners? Miriam, what a ridiculous thing to do for the continent of Africa. In Africa, Miriam, we are talking about that if we improve our democracy and rule of governance and respect of human rights, it can be done. There is nothing, Miriam, which is permanent. These dictators will be brought down if only we come together. I like what the Prime Minister always say about the safari and the snake. The snake is big, but the safari ants remove the snake from the hole and they smoke it out. So what am I trying to say, Miriam? We must be able to embrace human rights and respect democracy. Mm-hmm. We have to fight corruption. We have to fight tribalism. What do you find about young people, Miriam, the likes of Javan and Douglas and their codes? They want to be rich without working. They want to own fast cars without working, Miriam. We keep on talking about here, William, the deputy president for the Republic of Kenya. He is telling young people to go and steal, and they are happy and they follow him. And we are the only voice together with President Uhuru Kenyatta telling the young people that young people need to be given opportunities. If the African people, Miriam, can get the opportunities, it is very easy for us to do integration, Miriam. Let us just have this to say, that if, Miriam, that we have to talk about integration, if we have to go to our dreams of our Pan-African leaders, Miriam, we need not to dream because they dreamt. We need to redream. Miriam, we need to engineer ourselves. We need to refocus. Where is our focus, Miriam? We need to start organizing from our small units, Miriam. It is, Miriam, there's no single day I can work with you and find another Kenyan who is not complying with the law and I don't correct you. And many times, Miriam, they become very emotional when they say, thank you. This is how we have to re-educate our people, Miriam. Africa needs to be rebuilt, Miriam. Africa has been destroyed. We need to reconstruct Africa, Miriam. If we have to talk about integration, we need to readjust, Miriam. We need to change our thinking. We have to rethink, Miriam. And this is where we talk about, Miriam, that if we have to take Africa forward and talk about integration, now team ourselves and come out with what, Miriam, redemption strategy, which Dr. Masanga is good at. And I hope African people are listening to us, Miriam. If we have to do things, Miriam, we have to reconsider the way we do things. Miriam, we should be the people who are very optimistic. When you see a glass with water, which is a half, don't say that the glass is half empty. At least see water. See that Africa can go for integration, Miriam. Miriam, there is no way Africa, we need not to rethink. If we continue thinking in French way, Miriam, and English way, we talk about the Portuguese way, Miriam, we must come to realize how these people came to tell us, Miriam. Let us close our eyes and have the Bible to read. When we opened our eyes, Miriam, we found that Africa has been subdivided and has been taken, Miriam. It is high time that, Miriam, that we realize that we are asleep, but one eye is awake, seeing the things which are being done by the continent of Africa.
Very well.
Let us say that integration for Africa, yes, is a process. It is something which can be done. It is something which can be achievable, Miriam. Let us keep on trying. The people who succeeded, Miriam, are those who went down and they were able to rise. Together, we can rise if we choose to be progressive.
Very well. A very passionate Pan-Africanist there, the name of Professor Jared Onyari. Now we know, without question, that our disunity has worked for our detriment, and that is why we complain a lot about external interference. They take advantage of our disunity, and we see when somebody mentioned that the European Union, right now, Russia was removed from the European Union because they're holding Russia accountable because they have their own set of standards and rules. If you want to be part of this community, then you have to do this. You have to respect human rights. You have to respect democracy. You have to like there's the bare minimum at which you have to respect, and they'll hold you accountable. But that is what we seem to be lacking, and I think one of the panelists there has said, because we see people being killed in Uganda and we're just standing the other side. You don't hear any leader from the continent come out and condemn. We see atrocities happening in Nigeria. We see atrocities happening everywhere across this continent, but we seem to not really care. I'm not my brother's keeper. I don't care. And so that has really worked to make sure we are kept far apart instead of of bringing us together, Doctor. This is something we've talked about over and over and over again, but I think it's important to have a united Africa. And are we living to the dreams of our founding fathers?
No. And today, for the first time, I want to differ with Professor Onyale. And I don't know whether there's anybody else also who has differed. Kirimi, did you differ?
Yes, sir, I did. Very passionately.
I'm with you now. And let's have this argument. I don't know whether Prof is saying it is possible. Prof, I don't know. I was not listening properly. I was doing something. Professor, I don't want to quote you wrongly.
No, I said integration is a process. It's
Okay.
a process.
Yes, then that is, I'm not different.
That's even if we cannot do it in our lifetime, it
Will it
is
be
something
done?
which can be done.
Yes, I think I agree. Now it is not different. It is. I want to make my observation, and I would like the panel, Kidim, Japan, and Marine, to listen. This young lady raised a very important point: mental slavery. Honestly, the first point I picked.
Oh yes.
Is mental slavery. Do you know what? We want to wear a tie like Mr. Kitty. If you go to certain office, if you don't wear the tie, they send you away. And yet we used to walk naked.
That was our tie, a suit.
That was our tie.
And
was there anybody dying because the Maasai was walking? Tell me how many people in Meru died because the Maasai is walking naked.
No.
Yes. 2, we used to pray. We used to go to Mount Elgon, collect herbs. Did you find the people dying of stupid things like COVID? Were we not healing ourselves? 3, wacha tuende kazi sasa, wacha nitoboe. We used to have children respecting parents. Because of the mental captivity, because of the stupidness, somebody is even telling us in the 21st century that a wheelbarrow can take you to London via Mediterranean Sea, that it will swim over Mediterranean Sea, deliver you in London. Hallelujah. Have a wheelbarrow. Then why did our parents struggle so hard to get scholarships, to get money to send us to schools? To do what? To come back with a degree, Bachelor of Arts degree in technology, IT, and then you push a wheelbarrow. Africa cannot unite. Why? We have leaders who stay in power longer. You still have Ngwema, 42 years in power, appointing his son as the vice. You still have Museveni across. Miriam, you should have pointed this out. How do you mix old wine with new wine? Kenya practices democracy. 5 years, we change. Tanzania practices democracy. 5 years, we change. 10 years, the president in Kenya lives. 36 years, the president in Uganda is still walking, even limping on duty. Not even walking straight, limping. And he can see he's limping. He's going to collapse on it. Now, can Africa unite? No. Tell me that the people of Tanzania If you ask the Tanzanians to vote for the East African president, they will vote either from Kenya or from Tanzania. Tell me one African leader who holds the elections and he loses and keeps quiet. East Africa, you show me. Kagame got 99.9%
of the votes.
Museveni got 58 point something percent. He's still the same man. When some of you on the panel were coming out of Mama's heavy weight of 9 months. Mama took 9 months of caring. Some of you, Museveni was already beating us.
Yes.
Some of us were being beaten, crying, Papa, Mama, and we have left. Museveni had already started beating us. He's still here. And the children, all of you on the panel, younger people, Generation Miriam, you have now grown up. One leader is there. Africa will unite. Integrate. Africa will integrate. Africa will integrate. Telling me this story of telling birds that have already eaten fish in the sea and they are full, that they can't fly across the cold weather. Don't. Have you seen a pigeon when it is full? It doesn't fly. It waits until the weight, the saturation, then it can fly. If the penguin starts after eating fish, it starts flying over Atlantic Ocean or Arctic Ocean or whatever called what nation it is, I swear it will drown. Because it will have a lot of oil of the fish and the bones, it will sink. Africa cannot integrate. Democracy. Show me one African country where leaders go to elections when they have written 2 speeches. Even in Kenya here, I don't think my friend President Kenyatta wrote 2 speeches. Sorry. I don't think Raila Odinga has ever written 2 speeches. His speech is drafted at the last minute. But they don't go in the hall where they are announcing elections. They have 2 speeches. One paper is this way, and another one saying, I've lost, I'll wait for 5 years. Another one says, I've won, I want you to help Kenya to develop. You have seen the events in Uganda of where the leader of opposition, despite the fact that he was even robbed his victory, somebody followed and detained him in a house, not even in a prison, not in a police station, but in a house, his own house, not even told him not to go to the toilet with his wife. This is the tragedy of Africa. Okay, let's go to Africa, another Africa of Mogadishu. In Somalia, you see what a president is doing. Elections are next month. But because he has failed to have the campaigning ideology, he turns on Kenya and says, Kenya is trying to invade me in order to buy cheap popularity, to rise into power. Can Africa integrate? Look at the AU, the body that is supposed to unite us. Up to today, it has not written any statement condemning the brutality, a type of elections that were conducted in Uganda. They said they were free and fair and transparent, and they carried the day. They pocketed $22,000 each. 22 each, 22,000 in 2 days. There were 9 officials. How much is that times $22,000? You tell me. 100 and something. That's a lot of money for African Union. It just went 2 days. They left on before the voting started. So can Africa unite? The tribal clashes in Central African Republic, Amazonia, Nigeria, the Fulani of the north cannot live with the Fulani, the Igbo of the south. You have seen a lot of our Nigerian brothers in Nairobi. They are running away from persecution. They are very hard-working people. Some of them have opened shops for telephones. They know how to even make your telephone in a minute. Very good people. And some of them do it. A Kenyan would charge you a lot of money, claiming that, oh, I had to run for a spare part in that area. Well, my phone, I've just brought it to you, Miriam, then you said there's a spare part in that area. Kirimi, you have suffered this. Try to take your car. They tell you now the spare part is in Westlands. So that it sleeps there. Then he goes to remove the same spare part of yours. Then tomorrow he says, no, he gets the old one that looks like that. He said, this is the one we removed last night. He replaces yours. Can Africa unite? Look at the mindset that we have. What kills Kenya today is mindset. In Kenya, we have a bad problem of mindset. People are crooked. Some people are very crooked. Some politicians like Ruto are very crooked. They have stolen money from people.
That is true.
They have stolen money from the same state.
That is true.
Told Ruto, you are my deputy president. Go and supervise all those projects. Instead, Ruto collected his cycle funds and started flying them in a helicopter to collect money to say we are going for the rally. And said we are going for a rally. Said we are going to Africa cannot integrate. Africa cannot unite. Africa cannot start if you have such elements. What type of people are these? Who steal textbooks for students, desks for students? They ban schools. Have you seen the schools burning now? Have you seen a number of boarding schools burning? Miriam, that's another issue we should address maybe tomorrow. Someone is burning schools because they want to supply cement to rebuild. You remember the latest Saitoti ordered for the railway to be uprooted. He confessed. Some of the engineering companies ordered for the railway in Kibra in 2007, the Uganda railway, to be uprooted. Then they gave the contract to their company to replace the railway that was uprooted. Can Africa? Today we had a headline, Medium telling us the shocker for civil servants pension. It has never even arrived. Someone has been Googling it. Google. Go, Anakura. Medium, didn't you read such a story this morning?
On the Daily Nation.
So can Africa integrate? We've lost morals. We have terrible leadership, like President Museveni, Nguema, the president of Cameroon. These are bad leaders. They show bad example. president of Mogadishu, from Somalia, bad leadership. We have can Africa integrate? If you use look at what has happened in DRC Congo. Tshisekedi now said he has sacked the whole government, prime minister. There's turmoil there. Central African Republic, they are conflict. Can Africa integrate? The answer is no. Look at Libya. When we play, can you in Africa today, and I want to ask any of you, don't Google it. I wish all of you opened up your pictures and I see you, so that you don't Google. Yes, Professor, don't Google this. I want you to tell me where the AFCON is taking place. How many Africans on this panel here know where AFCON is taking place from? How many of you know what is AFCON? Can Africa integrate? And yet we know more about Manchester United. And the blue. You saw all Kenyans yesterday. Blue. Later, Nyama Choma. Blue. Ugandans, oh, I know Chelsea. Do you know where Chelsea is? Do you know? But you don't know where AFCON is playing today. Where are they? Which country is the AFCON? And Kiddy, I know you are a very sharp student, lawyer. You are looking somewhere there in a phone. The minutes are over. It is playing in Cameroon. The same type of tournament that was in Egypt, where Kenya took place. Until your country is inside, is when you can take part. Give me, have you seen?
Yes, but I don't watch football, Dr. Masanga.
No, I know, but have you seen? Even if you don't watch football, don't you see most of your friends leaving you and are going to break people's television in Nyamachoma places because they are watching Manchester? Do they know what Manchester is? If you give him a pen to draw the map of Manchester City, can he? If you ask him where is Manchester, between Liverpool and Manchester, which is the farthest? And of you on the part, which is the farthest town north of England? People don't know. But you find somebody stoning your car in Africa because Manchester has lost. You find somebody hating you because Arsenal is a perennial loser. You find somebody hating Matanga because I like Liverpool for 43 years. At least for me, I know where Liverpool is. And I started supporting it 43 years ago. I can tell you the first player. The first player is John Barnes, the only black African who was allowed to play football in the United Kingdom. The first one. So I can support. So Africa, we have a problem. Colonial, the word that today has summarized all over, colonial slavery, mentality. We have that mentality. You want to go to the hotel and also catch the fox like the Muzungu. In the process, the food chokes you. Why don't you just wash your hands and hammer this ugali na mkono? Miriam, I want
washing the hand is too much work. Actually, I eat ugali with a fork, but it's not. And I'm very African. It's too much process trying to get it out of my fingers. But I understand what you're saying, Doctor.
No, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I want to be very honest on this show.
They judge me here every day, but it's okay.
Yes, I want to be honest on this show. Because you said 2021 is the year of the truth. Wacha tuzungumze the truth. One day I went to Hotel Kilimanjaro, Hyatt in Dar es Salaam, one of the best hotels in Dar es Salaam, in Tanzania. Professor and the panel and Miriam. I went with another lady. I was telling this lady, stop talking while you are eating pepper. It was 31st. This is 2008. I'd gone there for the end of the year, and I'd booked there. Swimming pool, top of the roof, you see Indian Ocean, Pemba, and Zanzibar there. I ended up in a hospital, in Dar es Salaam hospital. When the menu came, this lady chose one of the most expensive things, which had piri-piri. And the professor guessed what happened. A man who had gone to celebrate my day in Dar es Salaam, I ended up being at the bed emergency in the hospital in Dar es Salaam. As she was arguing, when the food came, I told her, my dear friend, we have come from Nairobi. Go slowly. No, I wanted that one highest. You know, as she put the thing in the mouth, the piri-piri went down straight. You know how it goes to the esophagus. Is it what is it? Is it that thing there, that pipe there? Miriam, it was a disaster. You can guess how many guests stood up to come to help us Chinese. It was in a Chinese place. If you have gone to Hyatt, there is a first floor measurement. There is a Hyatt Chinese restaurant there. Very good food. Me who chose very good, who chose something that is very simple. David Matanga, I did not even finish my food. I had to take this led to the hospital. So we Africans, we have a problem. When we are given an opportunity, we misuse it. Now there is Africa trade, free trade. How many countries are allowing goods? Somalia complains that we are selling, yet we are importing lots of goods from Somalia. Somalia is complaining, don't come here, don't bring Mira. If we cannot sell Mira, a Muzungu can buy Mira from us. If we Africans block another Mira trade growing country, can a Muzungu buy the Mira? So can we integrate? If you tell people from Umeru, where Mr. Douglas comes from, to integrate with Somalia, I think you might find all of them in the house are dead. Integration is impossible. Miriam, I submit, therefore, maybe the next generation, the next generation will integrate. Mm-hmm. But this one, I agree with Konyari. They could integrate, but us, with our mindset, we might not integrate at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We might not. Democracy, we don't know it. Being so stuck in power, extending term limits, age limits, about 40 out of 54 countries. Almost 41 countries have extended their constitution. Did you know that? Almost 41 presidents don't want to leave power now. Can we integrate? The final point that I want to make home, and I leave the panel to make their parting shots, is the question of, are we independent? How independent are we? people call of independence. Kid talks of independence. How independent is he? As a lawyer, can Kid write his book? Sorry.
Take a break.
Take over.
All right, take a break. All right, thank you so much. And so
Let me take a break because
Yes.
saliva, I've talked too much.
You'll keep
and the
irritating
saliva, now
your
it is
thoughts.
gone, Miriam.
Okay.
How independent are we? Can we be independent without cash? We produce diamond, but we send it to Belgium. You find every African businessman with 200 houses in Nairobi, but he cannot make a factory to produce diamond, which we buy on 14th. I can see my sister from Kiambu has some diamond on her leg, you know, and that diamond you have was bought from somewhere else. Was it manufactured? It was grown here, but it was manufactured. I agree with Ambassador Maina that what do you cry for diamonds for? You don't even use them. You don't know how to make a diamond ring. We don't know how to make a toothpick. Which country in Africa makes a toothpick? Nairobi? Or we import it from China, then put it from our factory. Then you say we have produced it. We always cut timber from Mavira Forest in Uganda. But we don't have toothpick. The timber goes to China, they make toothpick, then we come and buy it. So I submit, it is impossible for Africa to integrate if we have the characters of President Museveni, Nguema, President Buhari, President, what is it, this other man of Cameroon?
Paul Biya, Idris
Paul
Deby.
Biya. If we have people as city who is going to be there until 2032. You see, a man has acted like God. God is gonna stay there. He tells me, "I give me to 2032." Are you going to be there? So Africa, Miriam, I submit.
All right.
Yes, maybe the next generation will. But for us, the dream of Patrice Lumumba and Kwame Nkrumah is elusive.
Very well.
Thank you, the panel. Thank you very much from Nairobi. Thank you. God bless you. I might not see you again today. Or if I am all right, Marlene, you can join the Africa Diaspora Dispatches at 3 p.m.
We've stretched this so much. I don't know if I'll have the energy for the PPM, but I'll see. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yeah, if you don't have the energy, then you notify us in time so that we can go and do our own things.
Very well.
Also, so that we don't have a colonized mentality.
Start looking for flowers. Start looking for flowers and chocolates. 14th is very close.
Excuse me?
Start looking for flowers, Doctor. Thank you so much. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Please, William, spoil my day.
Flowers is flowers brighten your days. Flowers don't spoil your day.
No. Don't bring this problem. You know, people are poor.
Okay.
People don't have money to
the
go
luxury
and
of buying flowers.
COVID night. And you want me to buy flowers?
Don't buy flowers, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you. I was joking.
For me, no. And if you're expecting some, you will not get them from me.
Not from you. I'm not expecting from you, Doctor. Thank you.
The only thing I can buy, do you know the type of flowers I can buy? The ones that are dry.
The dead ones.
What are they called?
They call dead flowers.
The one, have you seen the one behind there? I will send it for you, dry one.
Sasa hiyo itachomeka. Sawa. Asante. Doctor. Thank you so much. All right, as we conclude the show, of course, we have outlined some of the challenges that we're having in the continent when it comes to, having a united, Africa. And I think a lot of panelists this morning outlined some of those. I'd like to hear, as we conclude, Marlene, which way forward? Some of these problems that have come up during our discussions, is there ever a possibility during our discussion? See, it's lunchtime. I need to go eat now. Is there a possibility of us overcoming some of these problems?
Yes.
I'll start with you.
Yes, I still stand my ground. It is very, very possible. In fact, with what our professor said about if people are in the UN who are speaking on behalf of Africans, we should also support people who are standing in front on the line to talk much about Africans. We can't have people in the union go and talk about what should happen in Africa, what things should be done. And I know every African knows these things happen. The meetings that go through, and they have an idea of what topics are normally discussed there. I'm sure everyone knows. So, and it's in our heart. As I said, it's the mentality. It's in our heart. So if everybody knows the right thing to do, every African knows we should support each other. Yeah, if you can't do business by yourself, you need other people also. So as I said, it's very possible for integration, and it's all in the mindset. If we cannot change that, and also that Dr. Matsanga, the issue of it's not possible. It's very, very possible. We just have to support each other.
Okay.
Miriam.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And of course, as we speak, we know that the 34th African Union Summit, supposed to be happening on the 4th of February. Yes, Kidi, your final submissions. Is it possible to overcome some of these challenges that has been an impediment for us to realize a united Africa?
I am moved by the optimism of Marlene.
You moved.
Because as young people, the last thing we can afford to lose is our optimism. And when we are optimistic towards some of these things, it is not because our optimism is premised on wishful thinking. It is because we appreciate that there shall be difficult choices to be made and difficult work to be done. We also appreciate that there are moments when progress will be so slow and difficult, but that if we are insistent, that if we are willing to not give up, that there are moments when decades will happen in weeks. And then this begins with us putting our shoulders against the boulder and pushing it up the cliff, that with our putting in our effort can actually make a difference. So yes, Africa needs to integrate, and we can. But then there are such challenges that we shall have to surmount. One, there is the divisions between Anglophone countries and Francophone countries. Those are bridges that we need to build. There are walls we need to pull down. There is the problems with incumbents sticking to power in a number of African countries. Those are things that as a continent, especially in the next decade and in the next coming decades, those are things we must address ourselves to as a continent. There is the problem of neocolonialism, that there is a number of African resources that are not being controlled from Africa. A case in point closer home is Lake Magadi. There is mining that goes on Lake Magadi. The mining is done by the Britons. What they pay something so small to the Kajiado County government, and take the whole profit to South Africa, where they add value and then ship it across the world and make huge profit. Those are things that as African young people, we must stand up to. That will not be easy. But then I believe that those are things we can do. If we don't win, we shall pass the baton to the next generation and the next generation. And African integration is an ideal that African young people can stand up for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kidi Mwaga. Javan Karanja.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. And for me, I still hold my thought that unless we work from the smaller units, from the countries, from our countries, then we go for our regional blocks, then we go to Africa integration. It is still impossible to unite. How will we unite when we have not solved the issue of tribalism in Kenya? How can we unite when we are still having bad leadership in our country? How can we unite when Africans, we can't make sober decision, even when voting, a voting process, we can't make sober a decision of voting men and women of integrity at the ballot. How can we then integrate and be making decision for the entire African continent when we cannot make a decision to elect an MCA based on ideology, but we go for the tribe and who gives a huge amount of money? This mentality, we are sick mentally, and we need to refresh our minds, and we go and we do a mental settings. Then we come back and start talking of integration. Then we deal with the poor leadership, and then we come and we start from our countries. We unite as Kenya, we unite as East Africa, then we can call other economic blocks to unite, like SADC, ECOWAS, and other, so that we can unite and form one giant Africa. But as it stands now, we are losing it. We are losing it. When Africans start hating each other, the problem with the Africans, we are not proud to be Africans. We must start being patriotic in being Africa. We must be proud of being Africa. How can we be proud of African when we are not proud of our black color? When we go out there to bleach, when we pretend we erode our culture and we take the westernization culture that is in dominance in African continent, how can we unite when we all copy and paste everything that comes from the West? We need to work on ourselves so that we can talk of this integration. I think it's a long journey. It will take years. And I think the best that we can do, Miriam, we do away with the Africa integration and we talk of Kenya as a country, and we integrate and we work for a nation and we make it better, and Uganda to make their country better without this issue of Africa integration, because I'm not seeing it working now. Maybe in future with the next generation, but how it is done now, let us first work for our countries and make them better so that we can attract other countries to behave like we do. Thank you.
Okay, so you just rubbished the whole idea right now. You're saying it's not feasible. All right, very well. One of our viewers here, Wilson March, is saying Africa must involve the youth in the political and economic spheres. Africa cannot unite when the question of youth and employment is not answered. The youths have been marginalized. So they're saying for this very wonderful dream to come to fruition, then the young people must be on the table there where policies are made. Douglas, what are some of the solutions that perhaps can address the disunity and the unity of Africa, basically, that has been very elusive over the years? Elusive.
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you for that question. My name is Douglas Bundikidemi, and I stand with my claim that Africa cannot integrate until we fight for the sovereignty of other nations. One of the solutions that we can come up with, like Africans, number one is sovereignty of other people and respecting that sovereignty as Africans and as our leaders. Another thing is that as Africans, we need also.
Okay. We seem to be having a problem there with the signal from Kirimi, so while he's fixing it, perhaps Professor Jared Onyari, I know you're very passionate Pan-African there, and Jevan just said maybe that dream right now, maybe not. Let's start working on the individual countries. So if you're able to work out our disunity, then we come together.
Thank you, Miriam. There are a few panelists, I'm not going to name them, but I know with them they will want
you're
to
protected. Just
I'll
name
talk
them.
about them. I will not name them.
Okay.
But I would not want them to be near me, because they may pass for me a syndrome which may interfere with my thinking. Miriam, I totally believe in the struggle. And the only word when if I'm in the struggle, the best I could do is to add the pattern. The moment, Miriam, you tell yourself that it cannot be done, you are done. There was no need for us to have this discussion. Miriam, what I'm trying to say, Miriam, Martin Luther King said that he has a dream. When we should be charged by the content of our character and not the color of the skin. It was not the dream. Barack Obama, he midwifed the dream. Miriam, I want to tell you, look at the ants and the anthill. You cannot imagine, Miriam, it is the small ants which build a anthill. Miriam, the integration of Africa is achievable, is doable. Imagine if the Pan-African leaders were thinking that we cannot chase Mzungu. It was until when they went for the First World War and Second World War, and they can see how they can shoot Mzungu and he dies. When they came to Africa and they say that you have to go. Someone was telling me a few weeks ago, Miriam, when Tom Mboya was in Form 2, and they used to skip out from school, and the Mzungu will just come and punish them. And Tom Mboya will say that it is a matter of time that this will get our independence and these Mzungus will go. Miriam, it is a matter of time that Africa will have integration. Don't be scared with the likes of Museveni, Biya, and the rest. They are not permanent, Miriam. They will just go. The time will come and they will go. The future does not belong to them. The future belongs to the young people. Miriam, I want to submit by saying this. And this is what, and I want to quote Professor Wangari Maathai. He talked about the hummingbird, a very small tiny bird. The forest was burning. And when the forest was burning, you can see the big 5 animals of the jungle. The elephant, the buffalo, the giraffe, and all of them, the lion. They got and entered the boundaries of the forest. And they were just looking at the fire. But the hummingbird, Miriam, will go to the river. Many times make so many trips to get water and come and put off the fire. Yes, it did not put off the fire, Miriam. But the hummingbird did something, Miriam. Yes, integration may not come in our lifetime, Miriam. I thank Dr. Masanga because he has given us a platform whereby we are discussing, yes, it appears impossible, we cannot get in our lifetime, but it can be done. Africa, Miriam, has got work to be done. And we can't run away from it. We may be the only voice, Miriam. And I want to quote Jesus Christ, Miriam. He only left 11 disciples, Miriam. How many Christians do we have today? Muhammad started Islam, just one person. How many Muslims followers do we have, faithful do we have in the world today? Miriam, the integration for Africa is possible. I did say it about the European Union. You go to Brussels, the headquarters of European Union. It is on the war. It can say how they started, Miriam, how they fought and killed each other. But they have got their unification today. We have got European Union. What the most important here is, Miriam, we are not starting the journey. The journey has been started. Let us continue moving on. The stone which starts rolling keeps on gathering momentum. Let us gather the momentum. Let us say that integration will not come. Then why are we discussing? I therefore submit, Miriam. Integration is possible. It's not a must that it happens in our lifetime. Our children will come to see. They will say, Miriam, Marine, Kidi, Douglas, Dr. Masanga, Javan, we were able to engage and discuss a conversation. We are in the conversation.
Very well. Thank you so much, Professor Jared Onyari. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Kidi Morga. Thank you, Javan Karanja. Thank you, Douglas. And of course, thank you, Dr. David Matsanga. And as you speak there earlier, I said the 34th Ordinary Summit of the United Nations, they do it yearly. Usually it happens at our headquarters in Addis Ababa, and it shall be happening from the 3rd of February. I don't know what the theme of this year's agenda is, but hopefully they'll address some of the things that we expect for them to address. Remember, African Union has the Agenda 2063. Maybe we should talk about this, soon, because it encompasses a lot of things that are important to this continent, but because maybe a lot of us are not even aware, so we don't know. We can't hold them accountable. One of the key things in the Agenda 2063 is a prosperous Africa based on an inclusive growth.
peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.